Hello, my name is Bennett Taylor. It is December 8th, 2022, and this is the day I've decided to be a Pokemon Master. Yeah. Now, what does that entail? In my imagination, a Pokemon Master, ever since I was a kid, I imagined a Pokemon Master was somebody who pushed the hobby or the enjoyment of Pokemon to the nth degree. And capturing them all, of course, and then also I really want to win a regionals. It's a big thing, but I want to see how good if I put maximum effort into this hobby, if I put maximum budget into this, and spend all as much money as it takes to see if how does that get us to where we want to go in a regionals actually. So to clarify, I'm going to go as hard as I'm going to work as hard as I can to see. I'm going to do whatever it takes, basically. Okay, a little bit about how long I've been doing this, and a little bit about my history with Pokemon. So I've been collecting Pokemon since I was a child. My dad bought Pokemon cards for me. My dad bought Pokemon cards for me when I was a kid, and he would collect them himself. He had his own binder, and then I had my own binder. And I was, of course, very interested in the trading aspect, where I would trade kids on the schoolyard. The playing aspect definitely was something that was beyond my scope at the time, but now has become something that I do quite often. I got back into Pokemon cards during the pandemic, as did a lot of people, and I started a group of people that we could play together with. It became my mission was to get one of each Pokemon and collect the Pokedex, of course, catch them all, something we were always told to do. And in order to do that, I tried to grow a community of people who played Pokemon and who traded in Pokemon cards. So then I started to engage in the game a little bit. I played my first regionals this year, and that was a whole experience, learning a little bit about what it takes to play at a competitive level. But I just scratched the surface of that. And this time I really want to go for it and see how far I can take this. Having a community around Pokemon is such an asset. Basically, you don't have to spend as much money as people who do it by themselves, because you can trade and you can give cards to other people, and you don't. One person doesn't have to buy the amount of cards to, what I'm trying to say? Yeah, in a way, there are people in our community who spend a lot of money on Pokemon cards, and I've been so far able to just wean cards off of them, or when it's a card, then they've helped me get to the level I'm at right now and play. But I think that if I was to do it, if I was to reach the next level, I'm going to have to actually do the hard thing and spend a lot of money on packs, essentially.
How does it make you feel?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it makes me feel very uncomfortable to do that, because I'm someone who is extremely uncomfortable with creating waste. I really don't like to do that if I don't have to. So thus far, whenever I've opened packs, or even when people open packs around me, I've been collecting the waste that is created. Like, for example, even here we have some, oh my gosh, like this stuff. You got these things that come with the packs. Then on top of that, then that's just the outer layer. In the inside, you have these things, the foils. And these things add up. And like the amount of packs, so each pack has 10 cards. The amount of packs you need to actually make a playable deck is something I really want to find out and discover, what it actually takes to be competitive. So these add up. What do you do with them? My friend Maddie, who lives here, she's made some bookmarks. These are kind of cute, honestly. So like you making art with this stuff and this material is, that's pretty much the only way to recycle it. Other than I guess it's soft plastic and it can be broken down into whatever that turns into. But yeah, it makes me uncomfortable to open up a giant box and imagine all the waste that comes in from that, and also all the bulk, because not every card is something you need. So anyway, we're gonna go for it this year. This year is the year of Pokemon, and we're gonna see how far we can take this and see what we get out of it. Will it be fun? Will it be difficult? Will it be entertaining? We're gonna document it all and put it together for you in one cohesive piece, hopefully at the end, and you'll be able to see the journey to become a Pokemon master. That's the goal. Awesome.
Hey, it's December 8th, 2022. My name is Trevor Wong. I am Bennett's friend and fellow Pokemon card collector. So I really want to help Bennett on his journey to become a Pokemon master by checking in on him, seeing how he feels as he's opening up a lot of packs, basically seeing if he's able to keep up with the promise that he's tried to make here to become a Pokemon master. As for myself, I've been into the cards for maybe a year and a half now. I was actually reintroduced to this stuff through Bennett. I remember having dinner with some friends, including him, and he brought some Pokemon cards, and the wave of nostalgia that I was hit with when I saw this Charmeleon card that he had was immense, and from there I just wanted to buy this stuff, and I haven't really looked back. I used to collect this stuff as a kid as well, so when I was in grade 1 and grade 2, I would buy Pokemon packs all the time. It would be like one of my favorite things to get at birthday parties or as a gift from my parents. Like I remember one time my dad went out of town and came back with like 6 booster packs, and I was just super ecstatic about that. So I've always had a bit of a sweet spot for Pokemon. So I collect now, and I have my own, I guess, personal struggles with how into this I want to be. But one thing is for sure is I definitely want to see how far we can push Bennett and see what his limits are. Do you have some questions for me?
Yeah. As for like the
What's the word I'm looking for?
casual.
Yeah. I want to see what it takes to go from a casual collector to a more serious, dedicated collector. And I want to see what that is like in the context of playing the game competitively. Because as we all know, Pokemon is a game with a lot of turnover. So you constantly need to have the latest and the best cards in order to compete. So I want to see what it's like to actually do that. What are some of the costs, like the financial costs? What are some of the personal mental health costs that might come about through this process? What are some of the environmental costs? Like how much waste are we going to have to go through in order to make Bennett basically competitive at this? And then I also want to just tell the stories of our group and document the whole process. Not just for Bennett, but also for anybody else in our friend group who is competing in the regionals. For example, Taylor, Brad, even myself. I want to show you guys what we have to go through in order to get there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Maddie, any questions?
Yeah. What do you anticipate is going to happen?
What do I anticipate is going to happen? I think this is going to be tough. I think it's going to be really tough on Bennett. I think that there are going to be a lot of moments where we feel like we're just kind of spinning the wheels to some extent, opening a lot of packs where we're not getting what we need to just make competitive decks. And I feel like that's going to be really, really deflating. I feel like that's something that inevitably happens if you open up a lot of products and are searching for one very minute specific thing. So I think that's going to really take a toll. I think the waste is going to take a toll as well. I think we're going to learn a lot of interesting things about ourselves and about our friends and about ultimately the people who play the TCG competitively and take it really seriously. So I think that's going to be really interesting.
far are you personally willing to take this? Are you willing to, in terms of competition, what are you thinking of? Where are your boundaries?
Like, because you're obviously not going in as hard as Bennett, but why? Like, why are you afraid?
All right. So what are my personal? Sorry, what was the question?
Like, why aren't you gonna go in as much as Bennett?
All right. So what are my personal goals for the regional, and why am I not going as far as Bennett? So I feel like I have some addiction issues when it comes to Pokemon. I'm not a hardcore collector, but I would definitely say I'm a little above the level of casual. I fear for myself that I might become too into this and I might just reach a precipice to which there was no return. And so for that, I fear for my sanity and my mental health. Basically, I'm a coward. But that being said, there's definitely things I'm willing to do. So I'm considering using the pre-made battle decks and maybe enhancing them a little bit. I'm definitely willing to spend money on the game to a certain amount. I don't need to have the best deck, but I feel like I'm also confident enough as a player that I think I can make it decently far without the top tier deck. So I think that would be an interesting thing to track in our documentary.
So just say your plan again. You're going to, what are you going to buy and how are you going to use it?
Right. I'm looking to buy some of the pre-made decks, the pre-made competitive decks, and I want to see how far they can take me in these tournaments. That being said, I'm going to modify them a little bit, so I'll add in some of my own cards. I'll buy some booster packs. I already do that. I'll make some trades amongst my friends, but I won't be going all in again because I'm worried that this might be a little too all-consuming for me personally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are your predictions for how well you'll do with the competitive? How well do you think you're going to do with the deck like that?
I don't think I'm going to do very well.
Really?
To be honest, I think that I'm only okay at Pokemon relative to people who play this a lot. I mean, if we look at Brad as our example, I mean, Brad, did he make it to day 2 the first time around? So we're not really like the best player in our group. We're not really sure how good he is relative to a larger sample outside of basically the 8 to 10 of us that we regularly play with. So amongst this group, I think I'm pretty good, but playing amongst hundreds of people, we'll see how that goes. I feel like I will finish 5-5 if I played 10 games. I'll win half the games I play and I'll lose the other half. But anything else will be a pleasant surprise.
That's a good prediction.
So here's another question. How do I feel about the Pokemon TCG player aesthetic? The idea of the Pokemon player is kind of being this nerd comic book kind of guy. And am I worried about being associated to that or even looking like that? I mean, maybe a little bit, but I think that maybe that's something that I want to care about a little less. As hopefully an older and more mature guy, I think there's a little bit of a vanity to worrying about your image in that kind of way. So I'm hoping that this will actually open up my horizon to that aesthetic. Yeah, I think I'm fine with it. It is what it is.
Yeah, it might not even be true. It's just a stereotype,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, it's not right now.
Okay. Yeah, so again, it's December 8th, 2022, and I'm excited to make this documentary.
Okay.
Hey, Maddie, you're up.
Okay. Hi, my name is Maddie, and I have been called the most casual player in this Pokemon friend group that we have going. So the way I got into it was kind of similar, I guess, to Trevor's story where we were all hanging out with friends. Bennett's got like Pokemon cards out, and really Trevor kind of got into it. And through osmosis, I also got into it. as a kid, I loved watching Pokemon, and I was really obsessed with Pikachu. Like I had Pikachu pajamas and Pikachu slippers, and like my birthday presents. Like my mom, I remember for my birthday one time, she gave me a birthday gift in a Pikachu gift bag, and I was more excited about the gift bag than whatever was in the present. Like I can't remember what was that, but I remember seeing the Pikachu gift bag and being like so excited. I just like love Pikachu, and so I think a lot of my like admiration of Pokemon stems from the cuteness, like just the pure look of Pokemon. They're all even the ones that are kind of supposed to be intimidating, like Charizard or like any, you know, any of the kind of scarier ones, they all have this little element of cuteness. And actually, I was reading about this. There is a Japanese word for that. That's like, it's something, it translates to something similar to like cuteness. And it's something that the people who created Pokemon wanted to implement in all of the Pokemon, just to have some kind of like cute element. And so they're all cute. And this is my binder. And this is funny because I love showing people my binder. And the fact that I get to do it in a video is kind of interesting. This is my Pikachu collection. Oh yeah, perfect. So we've got a big Pikachu card here. We got Pikachu. And I've just received, most of these were a birthday gift to me from Bennett, but I've also received Pikachus from other friends because they know that I love Pikachu. And it keeps going here, and I'm always looking for more Pikachus if anyone has them. But I feel like the way I collect Pokemon cards is not like the standard way. Like I'm not trying to complete the Pokedex or anything like that. I just really am motivated by nostalgia and my first ones that I actually collected before I got the Pikachu collection were just like all the OG Pokemon cards. Like these are all from the late 90s. Like these are all the OG, like first gen Pokemon, not in any order or anything. I kind of organize them just in a way that I think like they would be kind of cute looking together. Like this is my Team Rocket page. Yeah. So that's, anyway, this is my, I like Eevee a lot. So I've got an Eevee page. Yeah. So that's kind of like the way I like to play. I also got into the trading card game a little later on. I didn't want to get into it at first. I was not interested in learning how to play the game, but then I guess just seeing, my friends having fun playing it, I just tried. Actually, Trevor and I went and watched our friends Ben and Brad competing in the regionals, and that was my first exposure to seeing this many people who were interested in Pokemon. And so from there, I kind of just built a little starter deck out of this. They just had a pile of Pokemon cards on a table meant for people to just like build their own little decks out of and learn how to play. And so from basically that day forward, I, through the help of my friends, was able to build a couple decks, practice a lot with Trevor, and basically train. And now I feel like I'm a pretty decent player. I know how to play. I feel competent. I understand all the rules. That's pretty much more than I ever thought that I would I would try or strive for. And so in terms of my Pokemon future, I'm thinking maybe if I'm going to do a regionals tournament, I might just do like a gym leader challenge because I have a water deck. We can probably somehow explain what the GLC is in this documentary. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, so that might be my extent. I just don't want to invest more money or time learning a new deck because I just feel like, the amount of Pokemon the amount of time that I already spend doing Pokemon stuff I'm probably at my max. I think I've maybe already peaked. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on what happens with this tournament. And if I feel like I want to get super involved, and I don't know, if I seem to get swayed by my friends. So if people seem to be getting really into making this documentary and are getting more into Pokemon because of it, who knows? Maybe I will get swept up in it as well. We'll see.
How do you feel about Bennett's quest to become a Pokemon master?
For the sake of making a documentary, I think it's fun and interesting and probably a good topic, a good, interesting topic for a documentary. In terms of Bennett's mental health, I think I'm a little concerned. I think after seeing him at the regionals, he seemed very tired and frustrated and kind of like he didn't like Pokemon anymore. I feel like I've heard him say several times as well that he hates Pokemon, and sometimes when we're playing games, like he'll yell and be angry, and which it's fun to get into it and be competitive and stuff, but I think it can also be taxing, and I think there's a lot of pressure because a lot of people take Pokemon very seriously, and I think that's going to be tough to compete with at the regionals.
How do you feel about all the waste that Pokemon generates, and what have you done to curb that?
Oh, yeah. I don't really feel good about the waste. It's so much. There's so much plastic that just gets tossed. People don't think about it most of the time. So Bennett has kind of inspired me to try to actually do something about that. And so, like these are just, what the plastics look like. And so I'll turn them into bookmarks, and I'm a substitute teacher in high schools. And so I'll give away the bookmarks to students, and they actually really love them a lot because, surprise, Pokemon is for children. And so they get really excited about it when their teacher's like, hey, do you guys like Pokemon? Because I have a bunch of Pokemon stuff, and I just give them bookmarks, and they love them. So that actually feels really awesome. And I just tell them, you can never throw this away. You have to use this forever. So yeah, it feels like really, I'm not solving the plastic problem in the world, but it does feel good to make whatever small dent that I can.
So Pokemon can be described as a very materialistic hobby. And in our group, we tend to buy a lot of things and open up a lot of things. You say that you don't want to really participate in any of that, but how do you feel about others doing that? Especially when they might buy a lot in your estimation.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel?
Well, ultimately, I think people can do whatever they want with their money. We're all adults. And so there's that. I guess I get a little worried when I guess I just don't understand the mindset of spending a lot of money on Pokemon because I'm just not there. I'm not as into it as some other people, but sometimes I worry that our group we're kind of enabling each other a little bit. Like we get excited about the new Pokemon cards that come out and new Pokemon video games that come out, and people all buy them and kind of celebrate spending money on Pokemon together a little bit. We've got a Pokemon Secret Santa coming up, so we're all going to be giving each other some Pokemon crap in a couple weeks, so which I'm excited about. It's fun, but it's just money, and Pokemon is not cheap. I think the company really knows how valuable it is and how important it is to a lot of people, and so they charge prices that reflect that. A little plushie will be over, I don't know, for sure over $20 for a small one. And I've seen little Pikachus in stores that are over $100. So if you're looking for a way to spend money, you just get into Pokemon and you'll have no problem there. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets getting back into Pokemon?
No. I actually love that I got into Pokemon because I think our friend group that's really into it has become like such a fun little community. And I got to meet new people and make new friends. And so it's come to be something that I really cherish. And I hope that we can continue to do it in a way that is sustainable for all of our mental health, and yeah, will just lead to more good times.